Hey guys, welcome to the Shermichael Singleton Show. I'm your host, Shermichael Singleton. And, politicians always play political games. And by that I mean, every once in a while, every politician looks for a moment to make a name for themselves. And today I'm talking about none other than Democratic Congressman Jared Huffman out of California's 2nd Congressional District. Now, what surprises me about Jared Huffman is that this man has a JD from Boston University, Boston College. That's a great school. But it reminds me when you watch this video that not all lawyers are the same. I mean, I guess not all JDs are worth the same either, or worth their salt, as they used to say back in the old days. But this is interesting. I saw this video earlier today, and I said, you know what? I have to talk about this on today's show. This guy thought he was making a name for himself. Let's pull up the image. We're going to pull up the still image before we show you guys the video. And it's interesting to me what he posted on his X account, formerly Twitter. He writes, Speaker Johnson's National Prayer Breakfast is yet another example of MAGA Republicans taking a sledgehammer to the wall between church and state. Walk with me to protest this morning. Now, I don't know who the hell this guy is before I saw this on social media earlier today. I've never heard of this guy a day in my life. He's an irrelevant member. There are 435 of them, right? He's irrelevant. But he tried to make a moment for himself. And guys, when I tell you this falls flat on its head, when I explain to you the history behind the National Prayer Breakfast, you're going to be like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Let's roll the tape, and then we're going to pick up on the other side.
Hi, folks. I'm just getting ready to cross the street for the National Prayer Breakfast. I am not going to this.
Like, no offense to Jared Huffman, but he seems like the kind of guy that no one in his neighborhood talks to. Hi guys, I'm going over to the National Prayer Breakfast. Like, he's like the guy in high school that you just didn't want to hang out with. And not because he was nerdy, because there were a lot of cool nerds, a lot of smart nerds. No, he was just that weird ass, strange guy that you were like, there's something off about this guy. And you can tell the way this whole video starts off, and I'm not trying to pick fun on the congressman, but he just seems weird. He seems strange. And when you watch the rest of this video, I think you're going to agree. Let's roll tape.
Event because I support it. I'm actually going to protest it, and I'm going to be wearing a couple of buttons to explain that. This one, Build This Wall, is about the wall of separation between church and state that our founders intended for our secular republic. And then this one says Entering Gilead, of course a reference to a creepy dystopic theocracy, which is the slippery.
He's the last one to be calling anyone creepy. The National Prayer Breakfast is a long-standing tradition in Washington, D.C. that brings together leaders from across the political, social, and business spectrum. The National Prayer Breakfast is held annually, every year, on the first Thursday in February. It has been a staple in American political and religious culture since 1953, when President Dwight D. Eisenhower attended at the invitation of Congress. And its origins go back even further, back to the 1930s, when a minister named Abraham Vereday, and this is Abraham, who organized the prayer groups with business and civic leaders when he used to live in Seattle. Fast forward, he moved to Washington, D.C., and when he moved to D.C., he established a similar group that included members of Congress, business leaders, etc. This ultimately led to what we now know today as the National Prayer Breakfast. It was originally called the Presidential Prayer Breakfast back in the day. They ended up changing the name in the 1970s to reflect its broader national and even international appeal. And since Eisenhower, and this is why I say that Huffman is an idiot. He's a moron of the day. Since President Eisenhower, every U.S. president, regardless of party, has attended, reinforcing the event's role in uniting leaders through faith and prayer. And this thing has become a big deal, guys. Roughly 3,500 people, including international invitees from over 100 countries, attend this event. And it really sort of serves as a forum for political, business, and social leaders to come together again in prayer, emphasizing unity despite political or maybe even business differences. And over the years, and this is what's beautiful about this, over the years, the National Prayer Breakfast has inspired many U.S. states, cities, and even other nations to establish their own annual prayer breakfast, demonstrating the lasting influence of this really incredible tradition. And so when you see Huffman talking about that this needs to be separated from church and state, this has nothing to do about a separation from church and state. This is not Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House's event. This thing dates back all the way to the 30s. And then it goes all the way back to Eisenhower, where again, every single president, Barack Obama attended, George W. Bush, Trump attended, Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter. Again, Republicans and Democrats alike have attended the National Prayer Breakfast. Why? Because it's an important event to bring people together. And you would think, as someone with a damn law degree, would recognize the importance of unity in this very tribalized, fractured, divided society that we live in today. But yet this clown named Jared Huffman out of California's 2nd Congressional District decided to try to make a name of himself. I feel sorry for the people in California's Congressional District. I don't know who in the hell voted for this guy, but either more of you guys need to vote, or we may need to take some civic test down to California's 2nd Congressional District and see what the damn people in that place know about politics. Because if they're electing fools like this, I'm a bit worried about who else they're electing at the local level. But let's continue to play the tape.
Slope we're heading down with events like this. Let's walk and I'll tell you more about it. So, look, we should not be having a Christian prayer service in the sanctum of the United States Capitol in Statuary Hall. This is an actual violation of church-state separation like we have never seen. 2nd year in a row, Speaker Johnson has done this, and now they're doing.
Why does this man keep blaming this on Mike Johnson? And I'm not even trying to politicize this. Like, maybe, you like Mike Johnson, maybe you don't like Mike Johnson. That's really irrelevant and a moot point. He says this is the 2nd year in a row that Mike Johnson has done. Jared Huffman, what in the hell are you talking about? This has nothing to do with Mike Johnson. This thing goes all the way back to the 1930s. Dwight D. Eisenhower was the first president invited. Every other president, Republican, Democrats alike, Republican members of Congress, Democratic members of Congress, have all attended this event. And yet you're trying to politicize this. And you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. You need to either fire your staff or get the hell out of Congress, because this is embarrassing. You literally could have Googled this, a simple Google search. Hell, you could have gone